Material management is an important function of an organization covering various aspects of procurement, storage and warehousing, movement and flow of materials, and utilization of direct or indirect materials, used in the manufacturing process. Therefore, materials management is a critical function that uses inventories and production requirements for planning and control to ensure materials are available as required to meet production schedules. It also involves all the related materials movement till it reaches the customer. In this S&P Knowledge series, let's learn fundamentals of materials management, authored by S.N. Panigrahi, authorized training partner, ATP instructor of PMI, USA, National Council member and course director IIMM, Hyderabad. Material management is a core function of supply chain management, logically involving processes like planning, organizing, directing and controlling the flow of materials, that is tangible goods, within an organization, to ensure materials are available, as required to meet production schedules, and delivery requirements by assessing variables, like demand, supply, price, quality, quantity, timelines, inventory and information. Materials management is all about flow of materials from suppliers to customers. Herein we shall try to understand all the relevant elements of a process in a manufacturing unit through SIPOC model. The acronym SIPOC stands for Suppliers, Inputs, Process, Outputs and Customer. A SIPOC is a high-level process mapping tool using information from these 5 areas to help visualize a process and its influences. In other words, it is a useful tool that depicts how a process serves the customer and summarizes inputs, input suppliers, and outputs of a process in a visual format. The SIPOC model allows organizations to document their business processes graphically, providing them with a comprehensive view of all key process elements in the form of tables and charts. Let's now start with the process. A process, the sequence of events used within the organization to transform the raw materials or parts and services to finished goods through the use of tools, human labor, machinery, and chemical processing to create value. Process needs inputs. The inputs are like raw materials, packing materials, consumables and services, and information used to transform the inputs to finished goods in the process to create the value sold to customers. Inputs are supplied by a supplier. A supplier is a person, business, or entity that provides products or services to another entity. Supplier is also called as vendor. Process has certain outputs. Output is a quantity of goods or services produced in a specific time period through a series of processes or production. Output is the value created by the organization to satisfy customers' demands. Outputs are used by end users called customers. Customers are the users of the value created by the organization. A customer is an individual or business that purchases or uses another company's goods or services. Through this model, we can understand how materials and services are moving from supplier to the customer through process or manufacturing. Core elements of materials management: materials requirement planning, sourcing and purchasing, warehousing and inventory control, materials flow and supply management. Quality control. Materials requirement planning. It is a production planning, scheduling, and inventory control system used to manage manufacturing processes. Careful planning required to maintain continuity and without impacting production schedules. Sourcing and purchasing. Purchasing is the process a business or organization uses to acquire goods or services to accomplish its goals of meeting operational or manufacturing requirements timely and cost effectively. Warehousing and inventory control. It keeps a smooth flow of stocks, aids in continuing production operations. It checks and maintains the right stock, and reduces the risk of loss. There are 4 main types of inventory: raw materials, components, WIP, finished goods and MRO. Materials flow and supply management. It is a sub-area of logistics that includes the storage, packaging and movement of goods of all kinds. Its objective is to maintain uninterrupted supply and distribution to various production centers. Quality control. It is the process by which product defects are effectively prevented or at least minimized so as to enhance product quality and reduce risks, gain production efficiencies, and customer loyalty. Materials management is an balancing act. The main objective of materials management is assuring a supply of material with optimized inventory levels and minimum deviation between planned and actual results. The objective is to ensure that there is no disruption in supply with supply of right quality of the material arranged timely at optimum cost. The objectives of materials management are summarized at a glance as an array of 10 Rs. Let's now look at these 10 Rs. Having right supply policy, getting right quality materials, of right quantity, at right price, at right time, supplied at right place, providing right service and responsiveness, arranging with right delivery mode and transactions, entering into right contractual agreement, establishing right relationships. What do material managers do? The materials manager will oversee the planning, procurement, storage, control, and distribution of materials and products according to production requirements, company needs, and customer expectations. They fulfill the responsibility of sustaining the supply of materials so as to ensure continuity of supply and ensure no production stoppages happens. Maintains optimum levels of inventory, and ensures that at each storage location in the supply chain, inventories are up to date and storage and carrying costs are also lower. They also get involved in purchasing decisions that are necessary for production based on data-driven decision-making, by working out maximum and minimum levels of inventory, economic ordering quantity (EOQ), vendor selection criteria. The materials manager's responsibility also includes adopting effective material control techniques that help the efficient handling of materials, with objectives of reduced waste of material, improved work conditions, enhanced distribution, optimized warehouse capacity, improved flow of material, optimal use of equipments and other resources, safety with targets of no accidents, and all these finally resulting in lowering of production costs. Material managers don't just manage the flow of materials to ensure on-time delivery, but also striving for improving operational efficiency, and minimizes material management costs and quality through the supply chain. Keeping track of the availability of raw materials and products can also deliver cost savings and ensure a maximum return on working capital. They also involve in new product development, standardization of product specifications, materials management processes and related documents, establish good supplier relationship, ensure consistency of quality, adoption of latest technology etc. Let's now discuss functions of materials management. The functions of materials management includes material planning and control, sourcing and purchasing, warehouse and stores management, inventory control or management, standardization and simplification, supplier management and relationships, value analysis, ergonomics, human engineering, adoption of good practices and new technology, continuous improvements. We shall discuss some of the functions of materials management further. Material planning is the scientific method of planning and determining the requirements of consumables, raw materials, spare parts and other miscellaneous materials essential for the production plan implementation. Planning of materials and working out realistic materials budget help the smooth functioning of the operations as well as to control the operations effectively. Absence of materials planning leads to over-ordering or under-ordering of materials. Over-ordering leads to over-investment and unproductive use of working capital. Under-ordering leads to material shortage which may incur delay in executive orders or may also leads to loss of customers. Therefore, proper planning of materials requirement is essential for smooth operations of business. Materials planning is a process that uses input data, then process planning, and deliver output. Materials planning essentially takes inputs from production planning. Production planning is the process of deciding how a product will be manufactured, and determines how many numbers of each item before the manufacturing process begins. Customer orders and lot size, demand forecasts, buffer stocking planning, production capacity and manufacturing lot size are deciding input factors for production planning. Production schedules, timelines, and bill of materials, list of the items needed and QTY required, being outputs of production planning, becomes inputs to materials requirement planning. While determining the requirements of items need to be produced, current levels of inventory also taken into consideration. Materials planning outputs are how to make sourcing actions, placing purchase orders, receiving materials, quality inspection, making available the materials for production as required. The procurement cycle is the transition of events that make up the process of procuring goods or services. An efficient procurement process is critical to the financial efficiency of any project as it aids in paying the right price for goods and services, minimizes delivery times, and helps you choose the best partners to work with your business. Procurement cycle includes capturing requirements, purchase requisition with detailed specifications. Procurement decisions, that is make or buy, selecting procurement method. Source identification includes market research and pre-qualification of vendors. Inviting bids means sending bid documents like RFI, RFP, RFQ, and arranging pre-bid conference. Next is receiving bids and evaluation, negotiations, price, payment methods, delivery and other terms. Source selection, selecting supplier and awarding contract. Contract management and execution, administration. Requirement fulfillment and contract closure. Procurement management is also referred to as the source to settle (S2S) or purchase to payment (P2P) process. It encompasses identifying needs or requirements, writing specifications, raising purchase requisition (PR), cost budget check and scrutiny, PR approval at different levels, verification and study by purchase department, selection of a procurement method, vendors pre-qualification and bid notification, RFI, RFP, RFQ, receipt of offers and opening of quotes, comparison and evaluation, negotiating, review by contracts committee, proposal approval, award contract or PO, material delivery by vendor, material receipt and inspection at stores, payment release by accounts department. Warehouse management encompasses the principles and processes involved in running the day-to-day operations of a warehouse. Some of the objectives of warehouse management are: meet basic storage requirement, site selection, location, efficient accessibility, maximum utilization of storage space, product mix analysis and storage, maximize asset and storage utilization, efficient material handling, increase labor productivity, reduced order filling time, increased inventory turnover, reduction in operating cost, decreased shrinkage, inventory holding costs, flexibility, provision for expansion, layout, optimal flow, support for better production processes, better traceability, accuracy and audit, improved security and safety and maintenance, adoption of technology, warehouse management system. A warehouse can be considered as a space dedicated to storing goods and materials efficiently. The primary function of a warehouse is to provide storage space for equipment, inventory, or other items. It offers appropriate facilities to the enterprises for storing their goods. This helps prevent wastage of stock and ensure its protection and safety. Such goods may be held from the time of their production or purchase till their use or consumption. Some of the warehouse functions are: receiving of goods, storage of goods, protection and safeguarding of goods, risk-bearing, loss or damage to goods, financing, inventory financing, processing, packing and repacking, grading and branding, kitting and product customization, assortment and cross-docking, materials movement and transportation, documentation and communication, data analysis. Warehouse activities. Some of the warehouse activities are shown below. Types of warehouses. A warehouse is a place where different goods are stored or accumulated for a temporary period. Depending on storage requirement, different types of warehouses may be considered. Some of the types of warehouses are as below. Inventory refers to all the items, goods, merchandise, and materials held by a business for storage of inputs or intermediary goods, like raw materials, components, packing materials, consumables or semi-finished goods, for further production or warehousing of finished goods for selling in the market to earn a profit. Different types of inventories are: input form, raw materials, consumables, components, packing materials. Semi-finished form. Work in process. Finished form. In stock, ready to deliver to customer. In transit. Items being transported. Capital goods. Machinery and equipment, tools. Why do we hold inventory? The primary objective in terms of holding inventory is to protect against uncertainties in demand, lead times and production outputs, to mitigate forecast errors and to avoid risks of shortages. To avail price or cost advantage of economies of scale in production, purchase, and transportation. Buying more in expectation of price increase. To improve customer service, avoid running out of stock or shortages. Making available of goods when customers want it even in urgency. Because of bullwhip effect. That is, demand information is distorted as it moves away from the end-use customer. To keep in process inventory because of uneven capacities between processes, or due to breakdown or stoppage of intermediary process. To act as a hedge against contingencies. Act as a hedge against price changes. Inventory also can be classified broadly as direct inventory and indirect inventory. Direct inventories are those inventories that play a major role in the production and constitute a vital part of finished goods. So basically, any physical component which is a part of the final good comes under the classification of direct inventory. These inventories can be easily assigned to specific physical units. Direct inventory involves materials purchased for use in the manufacturing or distribution supply chain that are directly related to the production of finished goods. Examples: raw materials, packing materials, consumables. Indirect inventories include those items which are necessary for manufacturing but do not become component of the finished goods. They normally include petrol, maintenance materials, office materials, grease, oil, lubricants, etc. These inventories are used for ancillary purposes to the business and cannot be assigned to specific physical units. These inventories may be used in the factory, the office, or the selling and distribution divisions. Indirect inventory involves any commodity or service that a company buys that does not result or constitute directly in finished goods. Indirect inventory further can be categorized as MRO, maintenance, repair and operations. Operations, resource management, capital goods, and services as shown here. Let's now discuss relevant inventory costs. Inventory costs are the costs associated with the ordering, receipt, storage and management of inventory. It includes costs: ordering costs, receiving and inspections costs, holding or carrying costs, shortage or non-delivery cost. Ordering costs are cost of replenishing inventory, preparing a requisition, a PO, processing the supplier's invoice, and remitting the payment to the supplier, and other documentation costs. Receiving and inspections costs. These are cost of receiving, issuing, loading and unloading and inspection. Holding or carrying costs. These are cost of holding an item in inventory. Cost of owning, storing, and keeping inventory to be sold, warehousing costs such as rent, utilities and salaries, financial costs such as opportunity cost, and inventory costs related to perishability, shrinkage, leakage, and insurance. Shortage or non-delivery cost. Temporary or permanent loss of sales when demand cannot be met. Objectives of inventory management, see below. Key benefits of inventory management. Ensures continuous availability and avoids costly interruptions in operation. Reduces storage cost and opportunity for cost saving. Better inventory accuracy. Avoiding stock outs and excess stock. Reduce risk of overselling. Better visibility and insights. Ability to make more profitable business decisions. Improves the service levels and customer delivery commitments. Utilize warehouse space better and improves the storage safety and quality. Better manage suppliers and supply base. Improved business negotiations. Higher inventory turnover, which leads to greater profits. Enhance market share. Tools and techniques of inventory management. Let's now list out some of tools and techniques used to control and management inventory. Businesses can pick any popular inventory control methods such as costs and risks of holding inventories. Inventory holding costs are costs associated with storing unsold inventory. A firm's holding costs include storage space, labor, and insurance, as well as the price of damaged or spoiled goods. Also, holding inventory may increase the risk of decline in price. Some of costs and risks associated with holding inventories are broadly specified as below. Capital costs, storage and handling costs, risk of price decline, risk of obsolescence, risk of deterioration in quality, risks due to shrinkage. Inventory shrinkage occurs when it found that fewer items in stock than in the inventory list as per records due to clerical error, goods being damaged, lost, pilfered, or stolen between the point of receipt and the point of stock taking. Inventory valuation is an accounting practice that is followed by companies to find out the value of unsold inventory stock at the time they are preparing their financial statements. Inventory stock is an asset for an organization, and to record it in the balance sheet, it needs to have a financial value. Inventory valuation is done to ascertain the costs associated with goods sold. It is also done to ascertain the value of goods unsold, lying in storage. Inventory valuation is the monetary amount associated with the goods in the inventory at the end of an accounting period. The valuation is based on the costs incurred to acquire the inventory and get it ready for sale. Inventories are the largest current business assets. Inventory valuation allows you to evaluate your cost of goods sold (COGS) and, ultimately, your profitability. The most widely used methods for valuation are "10 hours of inventory." As discussed, inventory management refers to the process of ordering, storing, using, and selling a company's inventory. This includes the management of raw materials, components, and finished products, as well as warehousing and processing of such items. Here let's understand 10 hours of inventory as below. Right stock, right mix parts and variety, right stock levels, right conditions, right tags and labels, right place for tracking, right price tag and valuation, right entry times, right aging and expiry dates, right services. This presentation is made on behalf of Indian Institute of Materials Management (IIMM), Hyderabad. Do you find the presentation informative and useful? If yes, then click at like button. And also subscribe the channel for free to receive updates. Thank you. For more details, please contact SN Panigrahi at below contact details.